Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. Today we will discuss the principal areas of pre-formulation, which are the solubility and stability analysis. First of all is the solubility analysis. One important goal of pre-formulation process or the effort is to devise a method for making solutions of the drug. It means that the very hectic task of the pre-formulation which we undergo. The main purpose of this process is to make the drug molecule with the maximum solubility in the water medium, because the blood is mainly comprised of water, and systemic circulation is mainly responsible for the transport of the drug from the point of absorption to the point of you can say effect or the therapeutic action. A drug must possess some aqueous solubility for therapeutic efficacy. It means that aqueous solubility of the drug should be in a way that it must be able to express its therapeutic action, or it is therapeutic efficacy is the in fact the output of the drug or the response of the drug which we get with a small concentration of drug. It means that how drug efficiently behave after its administration in the body. In order for a drug to enter the systemic circulation to exert a therapeutic effect, it must first be in the solution form. It means that uh, in the way the drug is administered, it may be the antirole or the parenteral source, but it must be made the part of systemic circulation so that it can behave as the ligand and bind to its target to impart its function. And in this way, it must be first come in the solution form. It means that solubility of drug should be at a certain optimum level. Relatively insoluble compounds often exhibit incomplete absorption. It means that drug molecule which are insoluble one, they are not able to become the part of systemic circulation, or they are unable to be absorbed after the after passing through some time in stomach and the small intestine. When a solute dissolve, the substance intermolecular forces of attraction must be overcome by the force of attraction between the solute and the solid molecule. It's a normal phenomenon that whenever the solute, it may be the drug, it may be the certain in normal routine, dissolving of the sugar into water. The normal phenomena is that the intermolecular forces of attraction between the similar type of the compound will be weakened up, and there must be build up of new forces of attraction between the dissimilar, like between the solute it will be weakened, solvent it will be weakened, and there will be uh, force of attraction between the solute and the solvent molecule. And in this way, the substance intermolecular forces of attraction, they must be overcome by the new force of attraction. They must be stronger enough so that the solute and the solvent must build up some attractive forces. In this way, the solubility of the drug may be accomplished. This involves breaking the solute-solute force and the solvent-solvent forces, and in this way the new type of forces will be achieved, which will be the solute or the drug solvent attraction. When the drug solvent attraction will be developed, then the solute particles or the drug particles will be made part. It means that if water is the medium, then the water will take these drug molecules along with it. It focuses on solvent interactions that could occur during the delivery of the drug candidate. And then there is more main focus on the solvent interactions, how it will the drug molecule will develop with new type of interactions with the solvent, and such type of the you can say point is focused when we talk about the delivery of the drug candidate. It means that the mechanism formulation by which the drug is made a part of body to impart the therapeutic action or overall the drug delivery process. For example, orally administered drug should be examined for solubility in simulated gastric media. It means that the drug which is taken like later on, the drug which will be marketed in the in after passing through these trials mechanism, and these should be examined for their solubility testing in the simulated gastric media, like the gastric media which is maintained in human made solution, which consists of pepsin, water, HCl, and its pH is nearly 1.2. We need to perform solubility analysis of a new drug, to provide a basis for later formulation work. It means that first there is a need to main focus on the solubility analysis of a new drug which is going to be launched in the market after the complete formulation process, and to provide a basis for the later formulation work and can affect the drug performance. Drug performance means this solubility no doubt affect the overall drug performance or its capability to show its behavior in the body. Drug with aqueous solubility less than 1%, 10 milligram per ml, will suffer from the bioabsorption problem. It means that uh, the drugs which are very less soluble, if the solubility is less than 1%, then such type of the drug will not be, bioabsorption mean will not be absorbed in the metabolic system or the biological uh, overall biological like body of animal or the human. And next is the factor affecting the solubility of the drug, and these factors are temperature, chemical and physical properties of both solute and solvent. They may be consist of like chemical and physical properties of, if a drug is administered in the form of the suspension, they are in the form of injections. Solute solvent interactions are there. Pressure, acidity or basicity of the solution, state of subdivision of the solute and solvent, how they are subdivided, and physical agitation applied to the solution during the dissolving process. And such type of formulation are done when the drug is distributed in some medium, and then it's injected into body. These may be in the form of injections stored in ampoules, or they may be in the form of like syrups. And the methods of solubility analysis include the solubility determination, pK determination, and it means that determine the solubility of the drug, its pK value, like its acidity, basicity behavior, partition coefficient, its lipophilicity, hydrophilicity, its dissolution behavior, common ion effect, like the presence of another ion where the drug is going to be absorbed, and the membrane permeability, again its ability to pass through the lipophilic membrane, and bind to the receptors. Next is to introduce methods to improve drug solubility, and these methods are the modifications chemical modifications of drug in such a way that you are going towards the formation of certain analogs type which transform the drug molecule into the salt or the esteric forms, and this is done through the selection of different solubilizing agent, use of co-solvent. It means that if the first is the selection of the different solubilizing agent. Different solubilizing agents are made the part of the drug, which are capable of dissolving the drug into the water medium to a good extent. And the use of co-solvent mean if the solubility, it is defined over here that substances which are added to the primary solvent in a small amounts to increase the solubility of poorly soluble compound. It means that the drug molecule, if drug molecule is poorly soluble, then to the main or the primary solvent, like if we are using the water, then the small amount of certain other substance is added, which will assist the overall solubility of the drug molecule into the solvent. Or the other techniques such as the micronization, which is the process of reducing the average diameter of the solid material particle. It means when the overall diameter of the solid materials is decreased, the overall surface area is enhanced, or the solid dispersion and the adjustment of pH of the solvent in which the drug is to be dissolved. It means that pH can be altered in order to make the drug more soluble. These solubility techniques are no doubt made at the ends, before administering in the body, or the drug, like if they are in the form of injections, or their solubility can be raised, and after they are administered in the body, how certain modifications can be made, they are made the part of systemic circulation to a good extent. Under this, first of all, is the intrinsic solubility determination. It means that in pre-formulation process, the drug solubility determination is also done, which is called the intrinsic. Intrinsic is the solubility of the compound in its free acidic or the free basic form, because most of the drug they are formulated or marketed, they are in the form of acids and the free base. And all the factor, step by step, intrinsic solubility determination is done. Like first of all, you have to uh, determine or write down all the factors or list all the factors that affect the solubility, and the dissolution should be defined. These may be the physical like factors, temperature, pressure, and then is the excess amount of the drug is dispersed in the medium. In a certain solvent, drug is dispersed, and there is struggle to dissolve this drug to a maximum extent. Then is given the agitation like shaking, and this shaking is done as the constant temperature. And then is the withdrawal of the sample of the slurry from the solution as a function of time, with the passage of time, like after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes. When the sample are drawn, then clarify them. It means that get only the sample, uh, like if it's in the solid form by the filtration, or if it's in the very small, uh, suspended, like very small diameter molecules which are unable to pass, or which are completely passed through the filtration, but are unable to deposit on the certain filtration, like filter paper or such type of the medium. Therefore, for them is the centrifugation process. Then after doing this, assay the clear sample for its drug content to establish a plateau concentration. Then next step is to get the clear sample and determines its drug content. Drug content in a sense that which can determine the therapeutic action. If its plateau concentration is very less, or overall it's less, you can say the concentration is less than the plateau value, then there is no aim to administer the drug. And this plateau concentration is the concentration of the drug in the plasma after the continuous administration. And then is the analysis using different techniques like UV visible, HPLC, and uh, gas chromatography, GCMS, coupled with the mass spectrometry. Next is the pK determination, and this pK determination you can do with many acidic species, pK, pKb value like pH, pOH, and so on, to determine the acidic behavior, basic pH, pOH of the drug. The interrelationship of the dissociation constant, lipid solubility, and pH at the absorption site, and absorption characteristic of the pH. Various drugs are the basis of the partition theory. It means that there is relationship between which factors like dissociation constant, how drug will be dissociated, how it will cross the lipid membrane, lipid solubility, and pH at the absorption site. What is the pH of the medium or the membrane, like physiological pH, and the absorption characteristic of pH, like what are the absorption characteristic for the various drugs at that pH. They provide the basis of the partition theory, which said that the dissociation, or overall, you can say the drug absorption characteristics, they are dependent on all these factors. And the dissociation constant, or the pK, is usually determined by the potentiometer titration method during the pre-formulation process. And the majority of the drugs today which are synthesized, they are weak organic acids or the bases. The degree of the drug ionization, it depends both on the pH of the solution in which it is presented to the biological membrane. It means that whether drug can ionize or it can pass through in unionized form, it depends on the pH. All the time, pH like of the different body parts when it's going to pass through the biological membrane, because again and again I said the drug has to pass through the biological membrane, pass through the cell. Cell formulation is made up of cell membrane, and permeability is determined by the lipophilicity, because the cell membranes are made up of lipids, cholesterol, linings, and these such type of the non-polar molecules. And on the pKa, or the dissociation constant of the drug, whether it's an acidic or the basic. It means that pK determination, acidic or basic behavior of the drug, dissociation constant, all the time it's important, because it determines whether the drug will dissociate, ionize at a certain pH of the body medium, or how it will pass through the biological membranes. And the concept of pK is derived from the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. What it said that pH is equal to pKa of for the acidic species plus log of its conjugate base which will be formed after the ionization of the acid, and overall the concentration of the weak acid. Concentration ratio between the conjugate base and weak acid, and similarly for POH, for weak base of drug molecule, it's a pKb, and log of its conjugate acid concentration to its overall concentration. Next is the ideal pH of parenteral product is pH 7.4, as the drugs product are administered by the two ways, parenteral and the enterol. Enterol is through the usage of mouth, small intestine, stomach, and the parenteral is other than this, like muscles, intravenous injections, and so on. Therefore, the ideal pH of the parenteral drug product is 7.4. If its pH is above 9, it means that if it's going to become more basic, then the tissue necrosis will occur. And what's the necrosis? It is the death of the body tissue. It occurs when too little blood flow to the tissue. This can be from the any type of injury, irradiation of certain type of radiations, or by the chemicals like a drug molecule. And the necrosis can't be reversed. It means that if the body tissue is going to be death occurs, then it can't be reversed, and it may result while below 3, and pain and the phlebitis like inflammation in tissue can occur. It means that yes, how the pH is important one. Next is the buffer are included in the injections to maintain the pH of the parenteral products, like which are injected and so on. And the buffers commonly used are citrate, phosphor, TACE, etc. to maintain its pH. And pH should be around 7.4 like physiological. Next is the partition coefficient. Partition coefficient means behavior of the drug to be distributed against like the two dissimilar solvents. The oil or water partition coefficient is a measure of molecules lipophilicity characters. That is the next is the partition coefficient. The oil water partition coefficient is a measure of molecules lipophilic character. Like if the drug molecule is going to be partition between the oily layers or the oily medium and the water medium, and its preference for the hydrophilic or the lipophilic phase, whether it will go towards the like polar phase, towards the non-polar like oily phase. And the partition coefficient should be considered in developing drug substances into a dosage form. It means that this partition coefficient is important to determine how the drug dosage form will be determined, in which form drug should be administered, and the distribution of the solute, like which should be the unaggregated and undissociated. It shouldn't be in the form of groups, and it shouldn't be undissociate. It shouldn't undergo the dissociation between the two immiscible, which is the general criteria for the partition of the drug or the partition of the solute between two immiscible solvents, that it shouldn't form like the polymeric molecule, and it shouldn't be dissociate to give the like its conjugate acid or conjugate base species and so on. And it can be described as it's the ratio of the unionized drug distributed between the organic phase, which is the upper phase, and the aqueous phase, which is the lower phase at the equilibrium. By it's determined by the ratio of these two, organic layer and inorganic concentration, or organic or aqueous phase concentration of the drug molecule. But it shouldn't be in the ionized form, and it shouldn't be in the aggregated or in the form of lumps, in the form of the polymers. Next is the dissolution studies. The speed or the rate at which the drug substance dissolve in the medium is called the dissolution rate, how quickly it will dissolve. And dissolution rate data, when considered along with data on the drug solubility, dissociation constant, partition coefficient, it provides an indication of the drug absorption potential following administration, that after administration, how the drug is exert its maximum potential, because the potential absorption potential of the drug should be higher one. If it's administered in the form of the 500 milligram, it means that up to around the 500 milligram, it should be absorbed and reach towards the target. It will not reach or bind to the target with the whole concentration like the 500 milligram. It must be less than 500 or the administered dosage. 500 milligram or the administered dosage, which may be in the form of the like injections, which may be in the form of syrup like 5 ml, 10 ml, and so on. And the dissolution rate of the drug in which the surface area is constant during dissolution is described by the Noyes-Whitney equation. And this equation is very important. What it said that at dm by dt is equal to a d by h cs minus c. What all these? M is the mass, t is the time in seconds, c is the concentration of the solute which is dissolved at a particular time in moles per cm cube, cs is the equilibrium solubility, d is the diffusivity, how it will diffuse, pass through, h is the apparent thickness of the aqueous boundary layer, which depends on the rate of stirring and the temperature, and a is the surface area which is available for the dissolution from the area from which the drug can be diffused out or passed through. And it has been shown that if the small particle size is there, it means that maximum surface area is available, and which in turns depend on the, it will go towards the fast rate of dissolution. Dissolution power will be high, In few minutes, the drug will be dissolved. And when there is fast rate of dissolution, it means that the rapid drug absorption will be undergo. Drug will be absorbed quite quickly through the like water or the metabolic overall the biological membranes. And next is the common line effect. Common line effect is that if there is certain electrolyte or the molecule, and if another ion positive or negative is present, and how it will cause its like dissociation or ionization. And the addition of the common ion, it reduces the solubility of the slightly soluble electrolytes. Like this salting out, like drug precipitation, it results from the removal of the solvent molecule from the surface of the electrolyte by the hydration of the common ion. Common ion is made there, and salting in large anions, which is called hydrotrophs, like benzoates, salicylate, can open the water molecules and thus allowing an increase in the solubility of the poorly water soluble drugs. It means that the if there is involvement of another anion, then it will definitely goes towards the change in the solubility of the drug. Like the hydrochloride salt often exhibit lower solubility in gastric juice because already it has abundance of the chloride from the HCl, because HCl dissociate to give H and Cl. And if certain hydrochloride salt or the drug is given in the gastric like a medium, then it will exhibit definitely lower solubility, because the addition of certain electrolyte in a medium which is already a common ion, then it will goes towards the reducing the solubility. Next is the stability analysis. And under the stability, it means that how the drug will retain its entity. It's a toxicology formulation, and these studies are advisable to evaluate samples of toxicology preparation for stability and the potential homogeneity problem. Like usually a drug is administered to the animals in their feed and in their food, like like a cat, dog, it's administered along with their food, or by the oral gavages of the solution or the suspension of the drug in an aqueous vehicle. Water, vitamins, minerals, metals, ions, enzymes, moisture level present in the feed. These all factors also depends on, and which can severely reduce the shelf life of a drug and decrease the stability. It means that here the shelf life of the drug is important, and we have to do some tricks that the stability of the drug should be enhanced. Therefore, the samples are evaluated quickly for their stability analysis. Next is the solution solubility, solution stability. These studies include the effect of pH, ionic strength, co-solvent, presence of light like photolysis factor, temperature dependent drug stability, and presence of oxygen, because oxygen will cause the many oxidation reaction will occurs, and drug will break down after certain oxidation, you can say, mechanisms. And usually these commence with probing experiments to confirm decay at the extreme of the pH and the temperature. It means that in the pre-formulation process, the drug is subjected towards the various extreme conditions of the temperatures and the pH. And it's investigated that up to which pH and up to which temperature, yes, the drug can retain its stability, retain its integrity. Like it's subjected towards the zero point 0.1 normal ACl solution, water, and zero point 0.1 normal sodium hydroxide, but all at a very high temperature, like 90 degrees centigrade. And after this high temperature, the overall solution or the drug stability is determined. And overall, the all the drugs should be capped in the like in the biological medium. When they are administered, they are at the 37 degrees centigrade. But for keeping them for storing purpose, for shelf point of view, yes, these temperature fluctuations should always be in mind. Next is the solid state stability. In the solid state, how the drug is stable one, and the primary objective of this study is investigation and identification of the stable storage condition for the drug, which is in the solid state, and the identification of the compatible excipient. Because if a drug is going to be in the solid phase, like in the tablet form, excipients are added, and drug undergoes the certain pressure mechanisms. In all solid dosage formulation, there will be some free moisture contributed by the excipient, and it means that excipient is responsible for imparting moisture contents as well as the drug. And certainly in the tablets, a significant percentage, like the typical 2% weight by weight, is required for the good compression, because the drug has to be drug powder or the granule, they has to be compressed into the tablet form. They, and these compression is undergo in certain molds, and therefore they must consist of some moisture contents. And this free water has ability to act as a vector for chemical reaction between the drug and excipient in the adverse, like on at the adverse side. And the absorbed moisture films are saturated with drug compared to the dilute solution encountered in injectables. It means that these absorbed moisture films are saturated with the drug as compared to the dilute solution. And this definitely it's a problem if the water molecule is going to be act as a vector and chemical reactions occurs between the drug and the excipient. And the purpose of the stability study is to ensure the efficacy, safety, quality of the active drug substances and the dosage form. And these stability parameters are to establish the definite shelf life or the expiration period for the drug, and to support label claims, to gain information about its packaging, assess the condition of the product on the storage on a prolonged period of time. And lastly is to determine compatibility of the drug with the excipient and other additives, and to determine the dosage form in which the drug is most suitable. And it's the last point in the drug stability, that how drug is compatible, that it shouldn't, these additives or the excipient shouldn't do the reaction with the active ingredient of the drug or active you can say main nucleus or main moiety of the drug molecule, and they must be help out in the compression process. They must be help out in the dosage form, like how the drug will be administered in a safe and certain these additives or the excipients are added to avoid the bad flavors and so on. And therefore these all factors also, or these all like additives should also determine the overall stability of the drug molecule. And for assignment, go towards this question exploration, like how many types of stability are there in pharma. It's all about today's lecture. Best wishes and Allah Hafiz.